Planet Dolan.
From cats getting married to the origins of a lewd phrase, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the dumbest conversations we've ever had at work. I'm Paprika, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by Juiceable1. The dumbest conversation Pringle ever had at work was with a friend of his. When he saw his friend coming into work late, he stopped him and asked,
"Why are you so late?"
His friend said that he was at his cat's wedding. At first, Pringle thought he was joking, or just terrible at coming up with excuses. But then his friend elaborated for the next 15 minutes about his cat's marriage. He was speechless by the time his friend was done explaining it to him. Number 9 was submitted by TheHalalHamhock. What? Hellbent used to work at a liquor store with a generally cool guy who was an ex-Navy and told lots of interesting stories about his time at sea. The problem was that he was a conspiracy and pseudoscience nut who talked a lot about the newest revelations from the internet. One time, Hellbent and the guy got on the subject of the Stonehenge and how it was built. The guy claimed that the Old English tune Greensleeves vibrated at such a frequency that it could levitate heavy objects, which was why the Catholic Church changed some of the notes in the original tune. He continued to explain that the church made it into the Christmas carol. What child is this? All Hellbent could do was smile, nod, and go help a customer. Despite his weird ideas, Hellbent still thinks the guy is one of the coolest people he's ever worked with. Number 8 was submitted by Purple Birdie Lady 623. Back when Melissa worked in the fast food business, a customer pulled up to the drive-thru and ordered a bunch of food with a Pepsi to drink. She kindly explained,
"I'm sorry, but we don't have Pepsi products. We only have Coke products."
The customer told her that he understood, then tried to order a Mountain Dew. Again, Melissa said,
"We don't have Pepsi products here, only Coke. Mountain Dew is a Pepsi product."
Once again, the customer said that he understood, then he ordered 2 Diet Pepsis. Melissa explained the exact same thing to him for a third time, that they don't have Pepsi products. The customer tried once more to order 2 Diet Pepsis, and that was when Melissa gave up. She read back his order, telling him that he had 2 Diet Cokes to drink. The customer understood, and he pulled up to the window after she told him his total. Although she was pissed at the guy, she remained professional the entire time. Number 7 was submitted by SheWhoLovesToDraw. While on break at work one day, LadyBot and one of her coworkers were discussing the term, "eat a bag of dicks." They began to break down the phrase's true, proper, literal meaning. LadyBot and her coworker considered the type of bag involved, the size of the bag, whether or not the dicks had to be human, either all animal or a mixture of both, big or small, whether the dicks could be cooked or seasoned before eating, and whether or not the person was allowed to enjoy them. What they didn't know was that their general manager had overheard their conversation. Instead of yelling at them for being inappropriate, their general manager offered his own opinion on the topic. By the time their break was over, LadyBot and her coworker decided that it had to be a burlap sack that held anywhere between 20 and 50 pounds, and that any dicks were viable. They were allowed to be seasoned with salt and pepper, but not ketchup, and the person eating them couldn't enjoy them. Number 6 was submitted by LadyLuckTakeTheWheel. Back when she was a kid, Tulip had a paper route with a friend of hers. One morning during their paper route, they had a huge argument about whether or not water was wet. The argument didn't start until after Tulip's friend was finished with his route, and while Tulip was finishing hers, he was walking with her. She still doesn't know how the topic came about, but it eventually created an intense argument. After about 10 minutes, Tulip and her friend realized that they had been screaming at the top of their lungs, "Water is fucking wet!" and "No, it's not!" were among the words screamed. While yelling at each other, Tulip and her friend threw paper so hard that they hit the doors with loud bangs. Needless to say, they received a lot of complaints. Number 5 was submitted by Epic Gamer 1124. One of the dumbest conversations Spinal Palm ever had at work was between him and his boss. While talking to his boss one day, she told him that she dumped her boyfriend and wanted to date someone else. Then she asked him if he was seeing anyone, and said that he wasn't. All of a sudden, she pinned Spinal Palm against the wall in the corner of her office and whispered in his ear, "Do you want to date me?" Once again, he refused. Because he refused to date her, she fired him on the spot. You can file for sexual harassment. Number 4 was submitted by MysticTulip. While on his lunch break, James Shark was engaged in conversation with one of the women he worked with, who happened to have a 14-year-old son. She told him that she was afraid that her son was gay because he enjoyed My Little Pony. His coworker said, "I just don't know what to do. I keep telling my son that he needs to stop watching that little girl's show, but he keeps telling me that he really enjoys it. I'm just afraid that, he might grow up confused about his gender." Without thinking, James Shark replied, "Listen, lady, there are far older men out there who enjoy the show. They're called bronies. It's not just your son who enjoys the show. It's full-grown adults, too. Maybe you should just let your son enjoy what he enjoys and not be worried just because it's meant for girls." After saying that, he believed that he just made their conversation worse. His coworker got a very worried look on her face and said, "Men who watch that show are huge freaks. I'm not gonna let my son become one of them." That was when their lunch break ended and they went back to work. James Shark still can't believe that someone could worry that much about a TV show. Number 3 was submitted by Crystal Girl 121. Spincess used to work at a movie theater, and a majority of her coworkers were teenagers. One day, as she hung out with some of her coworkers, Spincess mentioned how gross it was that customers wouldn't wash their hands after using the bathroom. One of her coworkers said, "I don't wash my hands because I don't need to. The bacteria is what helps your immune system grow stronger." Spincess asked him if he was serious, and her coworker said he was. Then another coworker chimed in and said that he didn't wash his hands either. From that moment on, Spincess always washed her hands whenever she touched something that her 2 coworkers touched. Thankfully, they both quit soon after. Yeah, that's right, that's disgusting. Number 2 was submitted by Relic 1962. A dumb conversation at work was between Dolan's dad and a new hire. At the department store he worked at, Dolan's dad was the receiving manager, and the store manager hired a new guy who was put on his crew. Dolan's dad quickly learned that the new hire was a bullshitter because he would tell all kinds of ludicrous stories in a lame attempt to show off. One day, the new hire tried to tell Dolan's dad that he worked as a dock manager back in 1974 and had a lot of hot women working under him. Yeah, buddy, you wish. Dolan's dad threw the new hire an incredulous look, saying, "You're around my age, right?" The new hire answered, "Right." "So," said Dolan's dad, "in 1974, I was 12 years old. Were you 12 years old and a dock manager?" Unsurprisingly, the new hire didn't have a coherent response. Number 1 was submitted by Shani Bofani 101. Mimi had been working in retail for 4 years, and on one particular day, she had the dumbest conversation she had ever had there. A random customer came in with a gift card from another store. She asked, "Hey, is there a way that I can redeem this card?" Mimi said that she couldn't, but told her to call a customer service hotline where a representative could deactivate her card and give her a refund. The customer looked confused, saying, "Okay, well, can I just use it here then?" Mimi smiled and told her that she couldn't because it was a store gift card, not a Visa gift card. She added that she could only use the gift card in the store that it came from. "So I can't use it here? Not even online?" asked the customer. Mimi said, once again, that she couldn't use it there. The customer looked at the gift card, then back at Mimi. She smiled and said, "That's okay. I didn't want to shop here anyway." As the customer walked out of the store, Mimi face-palmed. She didn't know why the customer kept asking her about redeeming the gift card if she didn't want to shop there in the first place. You know why. She's a dingus. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.